Welcome back to Real Buck Stock. In today's video, I wanted to talk about the scouting combine, and it's upcoming next week, believe it or not. Josh Capo and myself talked about this a little bit on our live stream Wednesday. Just how important athletic testing can be from the evaluation standpoint, and what does it really mean as far as like looking at these guys. So, Mark, with the combine coming up, I mean, obviously athletic testing is important, but what is it really when we, look at these prospects?
Yeah, a lot of it, Jason Light and the team and the scouts always tell you, like a lot of it, they already know that based off of tape. And then this scouting combine is for them to like validate their assumptions, right? The click and close that they saw on tape, is it showing it on the field when they test it? The stop and start direction of three cone stuff like that. Like those are things like, okay, yeah, I already saw that. But then again, it opens your eyes for other guys. Like, holy crap, how did this guy time so well? What did he do? Did I not look at him well enough? So, I mean, it helps players out, no doubt. But a lot of what we've seen through the Bucs drafting is Buccaneer guys, as they call them, like the Levante Davids. But you go back and look at their first round talents
Yeah.
on the RAS score, relative athletic score, it's usually pretty high. This is the first round of last year. Graham Barton was a perfect 10. He a 10.
Yeah.
So clearly they were looking at athleticism with Graham Barton, putting him at center. But overall, usually first round, it's you're getting the top of the top players, right? The first
Mhm.
32 players to take your pluck from. Usually you're going to draft a guy that is a little less of a risk because his athletic ability allows him to be that.
Mhm. Yeah, I agree with that. I think you put it perfectly there with like you're obviously going to get a good athlete in the first round. That's what you're looking for, but the main thing I think we try to look at when we're evaluating talent is, can they do the job well as far as on the field? Because that's where it comes down to. The film is is your first baseline. Like, are they a good football player? Then you go into, okay, the athletic testing, does that match what you're seeing on tape? So that brings, pretty much like you said, a validation or a confirmation of, okay, these guys are worthy of first round selections because of their tape, and then also they have good athleticism to compete at a very high level at the NFL level. So a lot of that goes into it for sure.
Yeah, and also we looked in there from the prior Buccaneers that were drafted. Mike Evans was a 7. I don't think that's justifiable as, oh, we shouldn't take him because he was a 7 and Graham Barton was a 10. We should take Graham Barton over Mike Evans. No, like he's going to be a Hall of Famer because of the tape he put up. He made Johnny Football, Johnny Manziel look like Johnny Manziel because he was up there jumping for catches that shouldn't have been thrown. So
Mhm.
like he's very much worthy of a high grade. It's not just about athletic testing. Same with Antoine Winfield Jr. He was about a 7 something.
Yeah.
You're going to say he's not a good football player? No, he's a great football player, especially when you see it on film. So you can't put all your eggs in one basket. It's a tool you can use to validate what you saw originally. And it's a team game, right? Everyone
Mhm.
has to work together. It's not just he can run real fast, he can jump real high. Hey, he has amazing hands. Yeah, like some of those things you can't teach, but what can you do within a system, within a scheme? What is your mind doing too? And that's where you see it on the film. And then you bring in the timed athletic scores to validate, like we said earlier.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Kalijah Cansey, again, he was dominant on tape, but then he backed it up with his his RAS score, as I can say it easier there. He had a 9.6, and which is really good, especially for his size, and you know the athletic ability was on tape. So a lot of those things matched up, which was nice to see. The best story, I think, to put this overall topic in perspective is Bucky Irving. Like he was a sub 3 RAS score. He was
Whoops.
like, yeah,
Trash. Should have been undraftable.
yeah, like a lot of people, dropped his grade because of that. They're like, "Oh, this guy might not be the athlete that we need at the running back position." But again, you go back to the tape, he was doing everything we saw last year as far as on the field for the Bucks. Like, he had quickness, he had ability to make you miss, he could catch the ball, he could do all those things. So it's a factor, but I think the weight of it can't be the highest thing you look at. Like it just another tool, like you said, to put in the evaluation, and you can use it as a measuring tool to stack up against other guys.
Yeah, I always compare it to like the Oakland Raiders past drafts from years past, like DHB, right? What's his name?
Hmm.
Darius Hayward Bay. Freak athlete, could jump high, could run ridiculous 40. What
Yeah.
did he do? What was the safety? Obi Melanfanu. Like it's a hard name to pronounce, but
Yeah.
he blew up the combine. Oh, let's take him so high. That was the same draft as Buda Baker. I think they should have chose Buda Baker, right? So there's areas where it's like, don't get in awe over how someone looks in tidy whities.
Hmm.
Let's get over to the tape, make sure it's translating. Like, yes, I know it's you can say, okay, if he's that much ability, I just put him in front of a coach and everything's going to work. Not necessarily. Everyone knows not to eat too many calories, but a majority of people are overweight, right? So you
Yeah.
got to put that metaphor into is he coachable, right? And you can't just do that based off of seeing him in tidy whities. And that's my biggest point. Like, clearly, if someone's knowing what they're doing on the football field, you can see with that bird eye in the sky, and then talking to them. Like, is this guy a good person? That's why we're looking for the Levante Davids. That's the Buccaneer man. And
Mhm.
that's why I think Jason Light's scouting department's gotten so good because they're looking for that type of character, not just this guy can run real fast,
Yeah.
right? So that's my biggest thing about the combine.
Yeah, and lastly, I'll close it out on this is like we've talked so much about like Logan Hall, for example, perfect example, him and Devin White, like they were really good athletes. They had high RAS scores. They were over 9, very athletic players. The problem was they just didn't show that on tape. You know, there wasn't that functional athleticism that you and I talk about a lot. It's like, what are you using that athleticism for as far as on the field? And I think that's where some of these teams they get in trouble a little bit too often because like Raiders for a perfect example, you know, they always go after these stud athletes, but they can't always put that athleticism to good use. And that's why we were so like negative on like Logan Hall, Devin White, even like JTS to us to a point because like he's super athletic too, but you also had those questions on tape. Is he going to be able to develop into what we need as far as a first round pick?
Yeah, consistency. Because like
Yeah.
athleticism is a me score. What can you do for we is a team sport, right? So if you're showing stuff that you can work within a scheme, within assignment based football, I'm more than happy to put it if you're just a few points lower in a RAS score than the other guy. So I mean that's just my 2 cents of it. But overall, you're gonna if it's one of the 19th best players in the draft, he's probably gonna be a good athlete as well.
Right, for sure. So yeah, I couldn't agree more with that. But this was just a good, you know, insight video that we wanted to do for you guys. Be sure to hit that like button. Comment down below your thoughts. Are you excited for the scouting combine coming up next week? I think it's a good indicator of like what exactly, you know, these players as far as athletic ability are going to be, and like does it make you go reevaluate some of them because some will probably surprise us as far as their speed and stuff like that. So it's always a good tool. But with that said, I hope you guys enjoy this and have a great week. Until the next one.